Intel briefing number 606217. Robert P. Fitton. Interview with the source. In the Nixon Theorem, volumes 1 through 3, the source is the steering force of the former Milky Way network. The Milky Way network collapsed after when Denali's plane disappeared in Alaska, and Patch Kincaid and Natalie Tompkins were killed in France. The Source Network is a counter-insurgency group, is dedicated to outing members of the dark Malays, the deep state.
Mr. Fitton, good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm well, thank you. It's great to be talking to one of my characters.
Within the action and high-risk spying in the Nixon Theorem, would you tell me what is the end game of the Source Network?
Well, that's a great question, considering the fact that the source is always on the air when something happens in the real world. The source provides critical intel data and get assets and personnel into place into risky and sometimes deadly assignments. The goal of the Source Network's activities could be akin to the goals of the U.S. Army Rangers in World War II, but they're not military units like the Rangers. They're even more like the OSS missions against the Nazis. The mission twists and turns in the Nixon Theorem with the initial source instructions within the plot, the gritty spirit of documentary noir literature.
What is documentary noir literature?
I'm glad you asked. I'm not just combining nonfiction and fiction, sometimes footnoted for authenticity. The historical plot is intended to impart knowledge and understanding. In the case of the Nixon Theorem, we're following the career of Richard M. Nixon from his early political career through the Watergate scandal. Then, like a spinning thread through a spinning wheel, a secondary plot or plots is woven through the golden nuggets of history with relevance and meaning. All of this structure and overriding theme could be said to be held in a spiritual cradle which permeates down into the novel. In the end, the reflection on that theme answers the actions of the protagonist hero and the negative energy of the antagonistic forces.
Sounds confusing.
In the end, no. In the Nixon Theorem and in the Patch Kincaid series, what seems to be an undefinable complexity, if written properly, turns like the cams and wheels inside a medieval grain grinding mill, producing something of substance and grit.
That's amazing. How is security maintained in the Source Network?
The human factor, of course, is paramount. Keeping your identity visible only to other members of the Source Network is the backbone of the security. In the early 20th century, the Washington and Alaska Military Cable and Telegraph System, the WAMCATs, started in 1900. They began broadcasting the military's first wireless links. In World War II, voice vacuum tube radio technology allowed for voice transmissions during the war. Tactical field radios and then walkie-talkies allowed instant communication from the 30s past the Second World War. But the essence of the communication in the Patch Kincaid series and the Nixon Theorem is via the blue box, which allows info to move a stealthily path from varied locations with a long-term power supply.
And Source members are not caught by the dark Malays or the CIA as epitomized by Fletcher Knight. Give me another ingredient that makes the Source Network successful.
The amount of money available to the Source Network, although it's never mentioned how and where, and the ability to move that money around easily would be one of those components. And I would also mention the use of the very early internet called the Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, or the ARPANET, which was the first wide area packet switch network. And the Source makes the ARPANET available to Finney and Mankiewicz, and again, information is easily moved from distant locations.
What happens to the Source in the future Volume 3?
I know what happens, and I know who the Source is in real life. His heroic challenging of the dark Malays is, in the end, truly remarkable.
As the voice of the Source, I must say I am pleased that you decided to bring not just the Nixon Theorem, but all your books to audio. When will Volume 3 of the Nixon Theorem be completed?
Sometime early next year.
In the words of the Source, good luck, good night, stay safe.
Warning. This document contains highly sensitive intelligence data. Pursuant to Section 11 of ZR Kill Switch Protocols, this memorandum is to be destroyed by incineration or cross-cut shredding immediately upon completion of review. Failure to comply constitutes a breach of national security. Do not retain copies.